Hello everyone, now that we have downloaded and installed Git Bash on Windows and also we have installed Git on Linux, what you're going to do, we'll just open our project on PHP Storm. So if you have your PHP Storm project, you can open any. Like for my case, I have my Bootstrap Smart class and I want to push this one to my GitHub account. So what I'm going to do, if I want to access this folder wherever it is, just right click on your project. Just right click on your project on your PHP Storm and then you say show in Explorer. If you're using Linux, you say show in files. So I'll go to show in Explorer. So it will take me to the location or where all my web projects are. So I'll just double click on my project and then this is what I was talking about. Once you have opened your project, right click on this white area and then you say Git Bash here. If it's Linux, you say open in terminal. So I'll say Git Bash here. So it is going to open Git Bash, our Git terminal, where we can be able to now write our Git commands. Now the first step we need to do is, first of all, we need to enable our computers to understand our Git credentials so that the next time you upload, you don't need to use them again, because this is now the authentication step and it's usually done only once. So the first command that you type, you say git config and then you say -- those are two flags global, and then you space user.name. So in this particular case, you specify your GitHub username. Like for my case, my GitHub username is jackmwangi715. So I'll come and say user.name space single quotes and then I'll say jackmwangi715 and then you put a single quote, you enter. Now the next command on the authentication is email. So we need our email. So we'll say git config space two flags global space user.email and then you specify your GitHub email. So my GitHub email was jackmwangi715@gmail.com. So you put that, then you enter. So we have now done the authentication part. So it means that the next time I will upload another project, I don't need to do that step, because now my computer now understands the Git credentials. Now that is step one. Step two, we are going to create an empty Git repository in our project to be linked to our GitHub account. So this empty Git repository, it usually has an extension .git. So here, to create an empty Git repository, you'll just say git space init. So git init is a short form for initialize. So if I press enter, it will tell you initialized empty Git repository, and this empty Git repository is .git and it's usually hidden by default. So to display it, just go to, I'm using Windows 7, go to organize, folder and search options, click on view, say show hidden files, folders and drives, apply OK, and you will see your .git repository created there automatically. So the next thing that you're going to do, we are now going to prepare our items, that is all the files and folders in this project, to be placed to the staging area. So in this particular case, we use git add. So here we'll say git add. Now if you want to specify a particular file or folder, provided that it exists in the project, you just say git add space and then you specify the file or folder name. For example, if it's this lesson 5, it's a HTML file, just say lesson5.html. If it's folder called bootstrap, you just say git add bootstrap. But since in my case I want to add everything, you just say git add and then dot. So it means that it will prepare everything and place them on the staging area. So if I press enter, you're going to get that progress. So you let it finish. Once it finishes, now we can move to the next part where we can be able to check the progress status with regards to Git and GitHub. So to check the progress status, we'll type git space status, git status, so that we can monitor the progress status of our project. So if I press enter, you can see now they are green in color. So before I used git add, they should be red. If you type git status before git add, these items should be red in color. But if you now type git status after adding, they'll change now from red to green. So it means that currently now they are in the staging area. Now the next thing that you're going to do, we are going to commit our items. So in this particular case, we are just preparing them to be pushed to GitHub. So in this particular case, we use git commit. So we'll say git space commit, and then you'll put a flag M, and then we are now going to specify the message, a flag message. So that is what will appear on the description of each and every item of your project after being pushed to GitHub. So I can call this something like first commit, or you can use initial commit, etc. Since it's my first project, I've just typed first commit, or you can type initial commit or anything else that you want. So you press enter. So you can see now it now changes now from red to white. So if I type here git status, I press enter, you can see now there is nothing to commit because everything has already been committed. Now the next step we are going to do, we will now move to our GitHub account and create an empty Git repository, a Git repository. So I'll move to my browser. I had already logged into my new account. So what you do, click on this plus button and then you choose new repository. New repository. So it is going to give you this window for creating the repository. The repository name, I can type here bootstrap. I can call this bootstrap. I can call it smart class. You can even space if you want, there is no harm. The description, this one is bootstrap lessons online examples. Okay, so you can leave this optional, you can leave it blank. It's not a must that you type anything here, but it's always good to give a short description of what you have done. The rest you just leave them as they are, don't change anything, and then you click create repository. So once your repository has been created, so let's wait for it to finish. So our repository has been created. Once your repository has been created successfully, now we are now going to use the git remote add. So we are now adding our items from the local machine to the remote area, which is GitHub. So in this case, we pick this command git remote add. So if I come and you just highlight this command, So you'll get this .git, right click, copy, and then go to your git bash, right click and paste. You can't use Ctrl V here, so you have to right click and paste, and then you press enter. So once you have added your items to the remote area, now we can now push them to our GitHub account. So our last command is now git push. So you just highlight this git push, right click, copy, come to your git bash, right click and paste. So I press enter. So for the first time, it should give you some login credentials where you have to provide your username, your GitHub username or email, and the password. So that's the dialog box I was talking about. My GitHub username is Jack Mwangi 715, and then I type my password. So once you have typed your password, you click login. So once you have clicked login, if your credentials are okay, it will proceed with pushing your items on the GitHub. Otherwise, yeah, my credentials are good. So you can see now it's pushing everything to your GitHub account successfully. Otherwise, if your credentials are wrong, then it will take you back to the login, where now you have to enter the proper credentials that you specified on step 1. Otherwise, now my items have been pushed to GitHub. So to complete this process, I'll just go back to my GitHub browser. I'll come back here, make sure that this window is activated, then you refresh. So I'll just press F5, or you can hit the reload button. So once your items have been placed on your GitHub, now you can now see everything that you have added. All the items of your entire project have been placed on the GitHub. You can see the flag message that is appearing and so on. Otherwise, thank you very much. And in our next lesson, we are going to start PHP, but also on your own, try to push other projects. Any project that you do, it's always good that you push it on your GitHub account, because you never know. Someone could require maybe a software developer or a web developer or somebody, and you need to have a proof. You need to have proof to show that your projects, that you are capable. So this is now the point where you push your projects to. Otherwise, thank you very much, and see you in our next lesson.